Hey, this is Nair and Farce again.
And we're Perspeculative.
Sometimes. And today we wanted to talk about a little show we've watched relatively recently. And because our fans don't hate us enough and we feel like we need to get that wave about to hit us, we're going to talk about Toradora.
And specifically, we're going to talk about the overpromised, underdelivered character that is Taiga. Yes, I know.
Yes, the much loved tiny tiger.
That is the cutest part about her. Literally. The tiger.
Yeah. The archetypical tsundere, if ever there was one. The pinnacle of pissed off short girl energy, if ever I've seen it in a character. The most pissed off short girl I've ever seen in anything ever. And that says something because I watched a lot of media.
Right? A lot of anime, a lot of media. Sheesh. But the thing with Taiga is that she's not just an a-hole because she's been hurt, which she has. She's not just putting up walls because of bad things in her life, which she is. She never stops being unappreciative, belittling, physically abusive person to him. And he is nothing but good to her. That, of course, being Ryuji, the main character. It is straight up abuse. There is no excusing it. It's not cute. It's not funny. And if you want to play devil's advocate, you could say that it's totally a double standard, because if he ever pulled that stuff on her, it would never fly.
No.
But the opposite is supposed to be endearing somehow?
Yeah, no. And the dynamic between Taiga and Ryuji is interesting, to say the least, and in a sense, I see what they're going for. Like, thematically, their character personalities are meant to represent a tiger and a dragon. In mythology, tigers and dragons are two creatures that are constantly in conflict with each other because their personalities directly conflict. A tiger fights with its claws and teeth, and it attacks very viciously, very directly. A dragon is a methodical fighter and will wear its opponent out or misdirect them or trick them in order to achieve their ends, as opposed to fight directly. And so because their personalities are so different, they're meant to clash.
Which I don't have a problem with. They should clash. She sucks, okay? Period. I'm sorry, she does. Anyway, I don't have a problem with that. Even if he wanted to be friends with her, I don't have that much of a problem with it. I think part of it, and this is just me and psychology and things like that, but I think part of it is because of how his mother is. That he takes care of her. That she acts like someone their age. He does everything around the house, all the chores. But she's at least sweet to him. She acts grateful. She expects it. She can't do that stuff on her own. She will not do that stuff on her own. But at least she appreciates him, loves on him, shows that she cares, does not beat him. Okay?
Yeah.
But I think that's part of why he's kind of attracted to Taiga as a person, because he already has someone like that in his life that he loves. Some of that going for your parent kind of thing.
Yeah. Again, to play devil's advocate, as you said, I can see what the show is going for. Like, I'm not blind to what the show is going for. The show is going for the fact that they both have personality traits the other could use more of. Taiga needs to be more gentle and more patient with people and not fly off the handle and try to get into fist fights with people just because they said a bad word to her. And likewise, Ryuji needs to be more impulsive and more selfish, because if he's not more impulsive and more selfish, he lets his nurturing nature makes it so easy to let other people drag him down that he sort of falls into that trap every single time. And so it creates this... I see what the show is going for dynamic-wise. I see what they're trying to say through the show. It's just that the relationship winds up feeling one-sided to me, because Taiga is so openly abusive, so...
Very much so, and doesn't really stop being abusive. The beginning of Toradora is great. You see all the potential. You see where this could go. It's something different. And I want them to be friends. I want him to help her somewhat, and I want her to help him to kind of, I don't want to say grow a pair, but to grow a pair. And that's all she's got. She's just short with a big old pair under the skirt. No, I'm sorry. That's terrible.
I'm pretty sure there's a whole other genre of anime for that. If you want that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm sorry. And if they had been friends and they had taught each other and they kind of learned, okay, them making it a romantic relationship is a problem for me because it is a very unhealthy friendship by itself, and then you throw romance in there and forget about it. Besides the fact that they both do not change nearly enough. He does not become the assertive, confident person that he maybe should at least go a little towards that way. And then Taiga definitely does not become an appreciative, nicer, decent person. She is only nice to one person, and that's Minori. That is it.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a premise that could have worked.
Exactly.
If we saw this shift where Taiga went from being, like, openly just abusive to everyone to getting defensive of Ryuji if someone talked shit about him. If we saw her get to the point where she started to go from lashing out at everyone equally to sort of getting personally offended if someone insulted him or said a bad word.
And not jealous. Yeah. Jealous does not freaking count.
No, not
being possessive is not any better when it comes to an abusive relationship.
No, it's not. Exactly. It creates this weird dynamic. And likewise, if we saw Ryuji start to, like, fight for her honor, or even just, not even fight necessarily, but just get aggressive.
He does.
Well, yeah.
The way I remember it, he does get that way for her. And that's part of my problem with the show, is that while he does improve a little, you know, he gets better somewhat, she does not. And yet he's still right there, supporting her, doing everything for her, being sweet, all that happy crap, to where in the end, they basically verbally commit to each other for life. Yeah. And I'm just like, what even is this?
Yeah, there is a circumstance, there is a version of this story that I feel could have worked a lot better. I feel like, conceptually, if we saw them kind of shift into a more healthy balance, you know?
One thing I would have liked to have seen is him and Minori get together, and then Taiga have to deal with the hard feelings of both not having as much time with her friend and her friend loving someone else, but then also the guy she's kind of interested in for some freaking reason despite being abusive to him. Whatever. And dealing with those feelings and actually growing as a person to say, I actually care about these two human beings and pretty much only them in the world. So, you know, maybe I should stop being a total dick and get behind them and support them and let them have something nice while also having them as my friends and open up my withered black heart to their friendship. You know, that could have been great. I would have loved to see that. Just change it up. But no. They have to get together for some reason.
Or conversely, if the author wanted to go in a reverse direction, have Minori confess her feelings to Taiga.
Exactly, and that's something we thought would happen, and then didn't.
And have Ryuji get kind of angry over it because he saw Taiga as a confidant, and maybe come to a healthy medium, come to a healthy meet in the middle where it's like, Minori, just what ain't that into you, dude? You know. And there are multiple angles this could have been tackled from, and I feel like the fact that it kind of went for this stereotypical sweet angle, which is
not even sweet. It's not sweet. It's not cute.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry. It's a lot of people are like, oh, it's a love story. No, it's bad, and it does not encourage good things or healthy things.
Yeah, like I feel like the story, the way it's constructed, could be rewritten in a couple of ways, and there's a lot of ways it could have been tackled, and I feel like just. And I know Taiga is such a loved tsundere character, but she's not just a tsundere, she's a jerk. And she's possessive, and she's jealous, and she's petty, and she's mean.
All the time. She belittles him. It never stops. Until maybe the last episode or two, she is constantly mean to him. Yeah. And he does so much for her. Too much. To be fair, too much. But she is still the major issue in this.
Yeah, it creates a weird dynamic, and I feel like if the show, and I know the show is so popular, that's what I hate, because I see why. I see the bones of a much more interesting story here, where if it went in some riskier directions, I feel like it could have either downplaying Taiga's aggressiveness or upplaying Ryuji's aggressiveness in the situation. depending on how the story wanted to go with it, you could shift this in some really cool, very unique ways that a story, I haven't seen a story go.
Exactly. It had such potential. I would have probably given it a 9 when it started out. The first half dozen, I don't remember how many episodes, but then once you get to the end, it's like a 6. Because it goes this stereotypical, unhealthy, just crappy way that's like, oh, you wasted it. You wasted it.
Yeah. It could have been worlds better. I feel like the author needed a second draft of it. I know the way manga is written, it doesn't really permit going back and self-retconning or self-correcting.
It's called fan fiction.
Yeah, it's not like a novel. It's not like a book where it's like the author can go back over and be like, do I like this? Or do I want to rewrite this? So I understand he kind of maybe wrote himself into a point as though this is pretty much where the story had to go.
So they wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah, and I've seen this happen in other manga and other anime before, where the author will write themselves into a corner where things were supposed to go a certain way, but the story bloomed around it. I can think of a few shows where the story bloomed around it to the point where the original concept doesn't work. How I Met Your Mother. I know, not an anime, not a manga, but there's a lot of fan dispute about that, about how the first season is written conceptually with the idea that Ted was going to get with Robin. Through and through. It was written with that. But then the show blooms outward and the characters develop such deep personalities, such profound personalities. It starts off as this one-off thing, but then it blooms outward. You have Barney, who's this horny jerk who doesn't care about anyone but himself, but slowly grows to crave an actual real relationship. You have Ted, who's so hooked on this idea of what things are supposed to be that by the end of the show, he's learned to loosen up. He's learned to adapt to change. And I feel like Toradora goes that same route where it all funnels back to this place, but now it feels unnatural because everything bloomed outward.
You see what could have been, and then you're shoved into the hole that is what the author has created for you, and it's not a satisfactory hole. I know, that sounds wrong.
There's another kind of anime for that as well.
I know, right? And it's so obvious. You can see all the potential. That's why I said fan fiction earlier, people, because somebody could write that story, just go, I don't know, 6, 10, however many episodes in before it got locked onto this track of, oh, they have to be in a romantic relationship together and stay that way. And that's the way it should be. Before that happens, just take it off the tracks. Just go ahead and take it off there and bring it to a better place.
Even just taking it in a slightly different direction. There are episodes where I see genuine tenderness between the characters. The whole Christmas episode, or where Taiga's dad comes back.
Which is nearly the last episode.
I know. But there are moments that are so sweet and so tender. You can see it conceivably, but still, I feel like it just doesn't play out as interesting.
You know what? I wonder if the author self-inserted into Ryuji, and if he had this chick that he liked who was super tsundere, she was very angry, she was very cutesy and small but vicious and all this happy stuff, and so he doesn't feel the need, or he's not thinking about the audience seeing her and not understanding why he likes her. In his head, he already understands his feelings, and so he doesn't feel like he has to explain verbally and to show us why the heck is he with her? Why is he even putting up with this crap? Because that is a problem that some authors run into. So I wonder that. I wonder if it was a self-insert and he did not properly capture that. Because he sure didn't have me convinced. He did not convince me.
All right, well, we've been rambling for about 17 minutes.
Jeez.
And now that we've gotten our fans quite thoroughly disliking the video and unsubscribing in mass.
Don't like Taiga.
Exactly.
Unsubscribe. Unlike. Hate 5Fs.
Yeah. But in conclusion, angry but small.
Angry but small.
I think that covers it. Goodbye.